Vastaamo hacker traced via untraceable Monero transactions, police says. Let's get into the dirt. So in October 2020, Psychotherapy Center Vastaamo announced it had been breached in 2018 by someone who stole thousands of patient records and demanded a payment of 40 bitcoins, which is around $500,000 at the time, to not publicly release the stolen data. Failing to extort the clinic, the hacker turned to individual patients, asking them to pay roughly $240 in Bitcoin to delete their records. Finnish investigators from the National Bureau of Investigation, with the help of Binance, followed the trail of payments to Kivamaki, who exchanged the funds for Monero and then exchanged them back to Bitcoin. KRP did not disclose the exact mechanism for tracing the Monero transactions, citing the need to protect sensitive investigative techniques that can prove invaluable in future cases. Thus, the exact methods involved are unclear. According to an additional Lemmy post shared with Nate by a trusted source in the episode link, the suspect also leaked their own identity at one point. So I would not be concerned right away. I think that first off, there's definitely some Bitcoin stuff involved here, and they expose their identity at some point. This kind of reminds me of like Tor browser, people who are caught using Tor, how a lot of them at some point actually don't use it properly and they screw up. And so I guess it's tough to tell what happened here. Either way, as far as we know, an actual Monero to Monero transaction does protect your anonymity very strongly. But as always, you can't really protect what happens outside of that transaction. And even then, it seems like this was highly isolated. So I wouldn't be concerned about like daily Monero transactions, but still really interesting, and hopefully we get some details about this, because it would be cool to see how this played out and if this is something that we need to be more concerned about. But personally, I'm not like super concerned about this at the moment.
I saw some of the people in my Matrix room discussing this, and I don't know how credible their information was or if they were just speculating, but what they claimed was that basically the criminal like did the conversions back to back. So it was kind of one of those things where it's like, I see one transaction leaving the Bitcoin blockchain, or, you know, like entering the blockchain for $500,000, we'll say. It wasn't that much, but we'll say. And then I see another transaction for this almost the same amount minus transaction fees in a very short period of time. It's like, it doesn't exactly take rocket surgery to figure out what was going on there. So yeah, it seems like this was a case of OPSEC failure more than actual technical cracking of Monero. And then also, someone else pointed out in my Matrix room, the IRS, last I checked, still has a standing bounty of, what, $250,000 for anyone who can trace Monero. So, like, I mean, if you're a company that figured out how to do this, number one, you're going to be going straight to all the VC investors and like, hey, guess what we can do? Throw us money. And then number two, why would you not go get the IRS bounty? Because one, it's publicity, and two, it's money. Like, yeah. All signs seem to be pointing that this is not a technical failure. It's an OPSEC failure.